So this is the bedroom in my rental apartment. When I moved in, it was a complete blank canvas. It was all white, bare, no storage. The closet is so small, it's so shallow that you can't run a rail for your clothes along the side. It had to be 2 short rails. So I have maybe 2 linear feet of hanging. It needed everything in terms of character, in terms of storage. It was just completely blank. So the first thing that I did was I measured up the whole room and I drew up the paneling for myself just to give myself an idea of how I wanted to work it out. I was also looking for some storage solutions and I found this hanging system at IKEA. And so I drew that in as well, and I just gave myself a conceptual basis of what I wanted to do. And when I was really satisfied with that, I went and I bought the paneling and started applying it. It comes in just long pieces, like 12 feet long, and I cut all of it off-site and then brought it back and started installing it. You have to draw it out on the wall, and then you start with the really critical pieces that need to be level and establish your levels going around the room, which was a challenge in this room because the building is so old that the floors and ceilings aren't level at all anymore. So it was a bit tricky, but it was a one-person job. It wasn't hard to do. I think the applied molding sort of brings in the architectural history of the room. It's the way I envisioned the space might have been at one point. Since then, it's been renovated over and over and over again. So who knows what it used to be. So in my mind, I'm bringing back the history. On top of the paneling, I'd seen an image where someone had just painted this really bright patch on a wall that had paneling, but they'd ignored where the paneling was. It didn't relate to the paneling, and I thought, in a room where I don't have a lot of depth for a headboard and I don't want to spend a lot of money on something, that I might not be able to use in my next place, why not paint a headboard on the wall and play with that layering of pigment on top of that architectural detail? Once the paneling had been taken care of, there were a lot of little finishing details that I needed a hand pulling together. So some of my friends from House and Home came over and helped me out. I was able now to bring in a lot of my clothing that had been hanging in my front hall and take care of my shoes, which were hidden away in all kinds of places around the apartment. And then also this bed that I got at IKEA has drawers underneath. So it gives me tons of storage for things like linens and towels and also big bulky sweaters, stuff like that. I generally like something that's a little bit playful. I knew that I wanted to do suspended sort of bedside lighting, that I didn't want to have really bulky bedside tables. I went with just a storage basket for some concealed storage, but then I've also got these floating shelves that have all the books that function as bedside tables, because that's basically all that's ever on my bedside table is a big stack of books. So in my mind, it was sort of a funny moment to make my bedside table actually out of books. Personally, I have a really eclectic style. I mean, you can see with putting on paneling, which is a bit of sort of a historic, classic look, but then doing fun things like mixing in an ikat print, painting the headboard on the wall, some non-traditional stuff. And then also, older pieces of furniture that have been in my family for a while. And I really wanted to incorporate them into the space and have a little bit of character of things that hadn't been created right away, but have actual historical significance to me as well. I think that I did go a little bit beyond what the average person might do in a rental space. I really like to take the opportunity to transform something and also to explore. It was an opportunity for me to try it out. I know that I'm going to be here for a few years, and so it mattered to me to put the time in to really establish myself here and to know that I'm going to be in a space that I really love.